I want to welcome anyone who's joining us remotely. I hope you enjoy the service and it touches you in some way. Today we are excited to have Reverend Marvin Shepherd. He's going to talk to us about Out from Under the Rock. And I've chosen an inspirational reading from Daily Word. It's entitled Give. I give freely and with love, just as Norv did. Thank you so much, Norv. Spiritual leaders teach the importance of giving, helping the underserved, and encouraging the disheartened. It is not the measurable quantity of what I give, but the spirit with which I give that matters most. The love I feel multiplies my giving, and it expands in ever-widening circles of blessings. My gifts may inspire the recipient to give something as simple as a smile, a word of encouragement, or a thoughtful gesture. My gifts return to bless my life in unexpected ways. I give with love, with no expectation of return from the recipient. I broaden my perspective, mindful that the good I share will be returned to me at the perfect time and in the perfect way. And I quote from Luke 21, 3-4. Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all of them, for all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in all she had to live on. And so it is. And now we're going to hear from our talented Carolyn and the Goodfellows, their rendition of Monster Mash.
Yes, yes. We invite you to get up and do a little dancing if you care to. And so somebody's feeding back here. What's going on? Okay. Is that me, maybe? Okay.
Just a little.
There we go.
Night when my eyes beheld eerie sight, for my monster mash table began to feed, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls came around from their humble abode to get a jolt from my electrode. They did the mash. They did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. They did the mash. It caught on in a flash. They did the mash. They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. Making the sounds. The eagle on his change, back by his bank pounds. Coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker 5. They did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. They played the mash. It caught on in a flash. They played the mash. They did the monster mash. Out from his coffin, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?"
It's now the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
It's now the mash.
It caught on a flash.
It's now the mash.
It is the monster mash. Everything's cool. Jack's a part of the band. My monster mash is a hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash is meant to. When you get to my door, tell them Elvis sent you.
It's now the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was was a graveyard smash.
Then you can mash.
It caught on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
Hated the monster mash. Mash good. Igor.
The monster mash.
Thank you.
Only in a metaphysical church. Good morning. I'm so grateful to be here today. And I'm also very grateful to be supported by some of my friends and fellow Toastmasters. Not too long ago, I joined Toastmasters in order to become a better speaker. And I've given a couple talks there, have been given some pointers, and they're here to find out if I'm doing the job right. So I bless them. I bless them. Yay. And I welcome you. I have reached that age that sometimes I need a little help with the eyes. So, my talk this morning is about climbing out from underneath the rock. Sometimes in consciousness, we get stuck. Sometimes in consciousness, we carry very, very heavy burdens. And so, I've just kind of designed this talk around that. But you know me, I always like to start out with a little tidbit or a joke. So here we go. And this one's entitled, Do It Again. At a Wednesday evening church, a very wealthy man rose to give a testimony. He got up and he said, I am a millionaire. And I attribute that all and all of my rich blessings to God in my life. And I remember the very moment that my life changed. He says, I was at a church like this on a Wednesday evening prayer service, and there was a missionary who had come to speak about the good works that was happening for God. And so, I felt so good that day, he said, because I had just earned my first $1. And then, when the missionary got done talking, they passed the plate. And he said, I knew I had a choice. I could keep that $1 in my pocket, or I could give it for God's work. And as the plate came to him, he chose to give that $1 to God's work. And he says, and I believe ever since then, God has been favoring me, and I have been totally blessed. And of course, everybody clapped, and he went back to his pew to sit down. There was a little lady sitting there in his pew, and as he sat down, she reached over and said, that was a wonderful testimony. I dare you to do it again. So, today I thought I would start to talk with the word faith. When we believe that's true, then at that moment, we've invoked faith. Does everybody believe that? Yes. When we express faith, we may say, I have the capacity to believe that that is true. Yes. Or we might say, I really believe that's true. And at that moment, we have invoked faith. So when we do that, we call to our imagination why we believe that. And we can picture, along with that faith, along with that belief, an outpicturing of what that looks like. And we can hold and embrace that. So when we have faith and imagination coming together, we can express through the divinity of spirit whatever we're picturing. You know, Jesus said, through your faith, so it shall be. And I believe that. I absolutely believe that when we choose that, and when we allow the universe to respond to our faith and to our belief, that those things can come forward. We can have a life of abundance. I saw a post this week, and I do a lot of internet work, and I saw a post this week, and it said that God never set the intention for anybody to be of a poverty mind. God never set the intention for anybody to have a poverty mind. And I think about that. Interpersonal dialogue. I want to just talk about that for a minute. Interpersonal dialogue. That is us talking to ourselves. And most of the time, that's in response to something we see or hear. Somebody might say something negative to me, and in my mind, I'm going to have an interpersonal dialogue. And I get to look at that, and I get to express within myself, is that positive or negative? Do I believe that or don't I believe that? Is it true or is it not true? And that's really a very, very important spot. Because somebody may say something very negative to me, and if it's not true, it's not true. But you know what happens? Sometimes when you're told something very negatively, over and over and over again, you tend to start to believe it. And most of the time, it's false. It's absolutely because of your environment, because of the people around you, that those things come up. And when we learn that that's not our truth, when we learn that God has more possibilities for us, we're able to start shifting. And we shift through choice. We don't have to stay in a negative environment or negative atmosphere or a negative belief system. I can attest to you, for 15 years, I was in a negative belief system. And I drank over that. And I became an alcoholic. And then one day, there was a change. And I was able to make a new choice. Now, that wasn't an easy choice to quit drinking, but I was able to make a choice. I was able to start shifting my belief system in all areas. How I felt about myself, how I felt about my God, how I felt about my family, how I felt about my friends. I was able to start seeing some truth in all of it. Took a while, but I was able to change. And then I started going to a metaphysical church. And my belief system changed even more. Then I started to going to prosperity classes. Because if you drank for 15 years like I did, you know what happens. You're dead broke. You're on the street. You're needing a ride. You know, those kind of things. And I needed a change in my life. I needed to come to a new understanding and to move away from poverty thinking and to move away from the thoughts, I'm less than anybody else, and to allow God to start working in my life. I've seen God work in my life so many different ways. Shortly after I was going to a metaphysical church and taking classes, I took a healing class because I needed it. And the healing was about, I had a chronic sinus issue that sometimes was so bad it would bedridden me. Well, we did a prayer and meditation with the teacher, and I learned where that sweet spot within me was, where God speaks. I learned where healing takes place. And I was healed. And I haven't been bedridden ever since, even though a physician said, oh, that's going to happen to you. So that's a testimony. I started taking some prosperity classes with a metaphysical teacher. And in one of the classes, and the setup is that you take these classes for 12 weeks. For 12 weeks, you give 10% of your income, no matter what it is, to the church. And after the 12 weeks, if you want your 10% of your income back, you can have it back. Or if you feel that the class has been beneficial, you can just allow the church to have the money. And I thought, okay, that's a no-risk proposition. If I don't like it, I get my money back. So I did it. I took this 4T prosperity class. About the third week in the class, it was a young man who stood up and he says, hey, I need some prayer. And I need to know that this prosperity and this prayer all works. There's a new position at work for me, and I'm hoping to get it. See, my supervisor's leaving, and I want his job. Now, there's 3 of us contending for it, so hold me up in prayer. We did. About the 5th week in, he comes back in and he says, this stuff doesn't work. They gave the job to the other guy, not me. I wanted the money. I didn't get it. The teacher was very good, and the teacher started asking some questions. Well, is it just the money that you wanted for that job? He said, oh, yeah, I wanted the money. He said, did you really want to be be the supervisor over all these people? He said, oh, no. No, I really didn't want to do that, but I wanted the money. And he said, well, you didn't want to be the supervisor over all these people. What did you want? He said, well, really, I would like to do this job, but also freelance and do it for other smaller municipalities. He was a zoning person, and he helped cities with their zoning issues. And he said, that's what I really wanted. And so the teacher says, okay, let's hold that up in prayer. And so we did. 2 weeks later, he comes in. He says, I didn't tell anybody what we were holding in prayer. But I got a call today from another municipality, and they would like me to come and help them with their zoning issues, but they can't pay a lot because they don't have the funds for a full-time zoning person. And so I would be freelancing it. He says, I don't know how that happened. Prayer. Belief that it will happen. You know, when 2 or more people come together in the truth, it unfolds. It absolutely shows up. And I thought, you know, that's really great. You know, that when I was talking about the interpersonal dialogue, how many times have we believed that we could do something, and then our mind tells us, no, maybe not. Or we don't do anything about it. We believe, we have the imagination, but we don't do anything about it. See, faith without works will not unfold anything. If you have imagination, if you have faith, and you're willing to put in the effort, there's nothing you can't achieve. Absolutely nothing. This church is an absolutely wonderful place. I just love it. It is full of teachers. It is full of wisdom. It is full of love. I always can't wait to come back. And a few weeks ago, when the LEAF program came out, I thought that, yeah, the church needs a little boost, and I'm going to do my part. And so I decided that for my twin brother, I'm going to buy a Leaf. Now, I did it on the Leaf-O-Matic. So I've pledged to buy a Leaf for my brother in his memory. I have a twin brother. Anybody know that I had a twin brother? Identical twin brother. And I'm going to tell you something. We were the most mischievous 2 boys that there ever was. Pulled my mother's hair out. So, but in his honor, I'm buying a Leaf. And I just wanted to share with you that if you have a loved one, if you have somebody that you really cared for, and if you'd like to make that gift also, I'm here for you. I'll sign you up. So, in closing, let you and me know that God is always available to work with us, always here to touch us from the heart. There is nothing that you can't do if it's heartfelt, if you have the imagination, and you're willing to do the work. Thank you. God bless you.
And now it's time for gifts, tithes, and offerings. If the ushers would come forward, please. Mask is clogging up my glasses. I want to remind the congregation who has joined us remotely that you too can help support the temple by clicking on the donate button, and I thank you in advance for your generosity. Infinite intelligence, we give thanks for all that we have, all that we're able to give, and all that we receive. May these gifts be multiplied to support the temple's ministry and outreach for its members, its friends, and the community. And so it is. Thank you. And now we're going to hear from Carol, the Goodfellows, and Daniel. He's also a good fella. He's a pirate good fella.
Arr.
Arr. Singing happy.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
The sunshine shades here, you can take a break.
I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space.
With the air like I don't care, baby, by the way. Ha! Because I'm clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel that that's what you want to do. There.
Here come bad news, talking this and that. Yeah.
Give me all you got and don't hold it back.
Yeah, well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. Yeah,
No offense to you, don't you waste your time. And here's why.
because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel that happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel that that's what you want to do. Bring me down,
Can't nothing,
bring me down.
set my levels too high.
Never bring me down.
Shoulda can't nothing,
Never bring me down.
'cause I'm happy.
Never bring me down.
Can't nothing,
Never bring me down.
oh, my levels too high.
Bring me down.
I said
No,
can't nothing.
bring me down.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy.
Clap along if you feel that that's what you want to do. Yeah. Bring me down.
Can't nothing.
Yeah, bring me
I
down.
said my level's too high.
Bring me down.
No, can't nothing.
Oh, no. Bring me
'Cause
down.
I'm
Bring me down.
no, can't nothing.
Bring me down.
I said my level's too high.
Bring me
I
down.
said can't nothing.
Bring me down.
Here's why, 'cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel that that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Don't forget, Message Circle starts promptly at 6 p.m. tonight. Be here, be square, and have a lovely week.
Halloween. Thank you.